So this is my third year of sharing Thanksgiving recipes, and I can confidently say this year's mac and cheese wins. It's simply out of this world. Cook your pasta until it's slightly undercooked, then strain and toss in some butter. Melt your butter, then saute in some crushed garlic, then add in your flour and cook until it's golden. Whisk in your half and half in heavy cream and let it simmer until it thickens. Repeat after me. Freshly grated cheeses only. On low heat, whisk in about 1 cup at a time. Once it melts, add in another, and so on. Your cheese sauce should look like that. Remove from the heat, then whisk in your cream cheese and these listed spices. Now we're gonna pour this creamy, cheesy, velvety sauce all over the pasta and gently fold it in. Top with the remaining freshly grated cheeses, then we're gonna bake at 425 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes and broil for about 5 or until it's golden. Enjoy!
He who putteth eggs in their macaroni and cheese shall prosper for the rest of their days. Amen. Amen, cousins. All right, well, let me show you how I make macaroni and cheese in my house. I start off by number one, hand shredding my cheese. I do not use that stuff that's pre-shredded. It has starch on it. It doesn't melt the same. In a pot, you want to melt some butter, add some heavy cream and some evaporated milk, and let that come together. Now I've added my cheese. I had a little bit of white cheddar left over from another dish, so I added that in there as well. Then I had to switch pots, so that pot was acting up, so I didn't want to do that. And so I've added my macaroni. I cook the macaroni for about 7 minutes till it's al dente, because remember that pasta is going to continue to cook in the oven. I've added some sour cream, some salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Now I've added it to a pan, a 9x13 baking dish, and I've added the eggs. Yes, I did add the eggs. Okay, I don't want to hear nothing about it. Okay, so now I've added that cubed pieces of sharp cheddar cheese, and I had some leftover shredded, so I added that as well. Now, cousins, it is imperative that your noodles are swimming in that cheese sauce. Please, for the life of me, I don't understand why people be baking with the naked noodles. Don't do that. All right, so you cover and bake, then you uncover it and let it brown on top, and this is what you get, cousins. Now, you tell me this don't look good, okay? And you gotta let that macaroni and cheese rest before you serve it. This is what it looks like at the ends. This is how you make macaroni and cheese in my house. Be blessed.
One thing people don't play about is their mac and cheese, so let's get into how to make the creamiest and cheesiest mac and cheese for Thanksgiving this year. You're going to start off by grating your cheeses, grate up every one that you see on the screen, and give it a really nice mix. I like to season my water with a little bit of chicken bouillon before adding my noodles in. I don't do a roux, I just do some melted butter, heavy whipping cream, and I add my cheeses in little by little, give it a nice mix until it's at the consistency that I want, and then I kind of let it rest for about 2 to 3 minutes so it gets a little bit cheesier. Add it into your drained noodles little by little, so that way you can kind of control how much is going in, and it's not too creamy, but it's just the perfect amount of cheese. Season it to your tasting with everything that you see on the screen and give it a really nice mix. I put half of it inside of the pan, and then I like to get a little bit of cheese in there, put the other half on, and make sure the top is nice and cheesy. I do like to put some paprika and parsley on top of mine, and then I bake it in the oven on 375 for about 10 minutes until it has this nice golden brown color. Let it rest for about 4 to 5 minutes before you dig in. That's going to allow the cheese to really melt and give it this really nice creamy texture. But yeah, go ahead and serve this up for your holidays. If you would like the full recipe, I have it on my YouTube as well as my cookbook. Follow Breeze Heat for more.
This is what I want my mac and cheese to look like. Let's make some bomb-ass mac and cheese. All right, this year we're gonna not be little buttholes about mac and cheese. Let's just respect all the different ways of making it. Seriously, I'm gonna use good old elbows. Always get questions about this pot. It's the 14-inch wok from Hexclad. They're having their big ass Black Friday sale right now. My link's in the bio if you wanna hit it up. Boiling my pasta till al dente in some broth. Noodles are done and draining. We're gonna add half a stick of butter. I'm gonna do some garlic powder. Ow. Shit. Onion powder. A little bit of Tony's, this adds some spice, and some paprika for color, and black pepper. Can of evaporated milk, Winco brand. I'm gonna start with 1.5 cups of heavy cream. You can always add more to thin it out later. This is simmering. I'm adding in a pack of Boursin garlic, garlic and herb. It's like a flavored cream cheese. Boursin's melted, we're gonna cut the heat. 8 ounces of freshly grated, extra sharp white cheddar cheese. I've got 1 pound of sharp yellow cheddar cheese. And for me, it wouldn't be mac and cheese without some Velveeta, about 6 ounces. I feel like it takes the creaminess to the next level. I'm gonna add that extra 1/2 cup of heavy cream. Look at this. Add in your pasta. Now mix that shit. Just look at that. We're gonna do about another 8 ounces of cheese on top, some parsley and paprika. I'm gonna pop it in the oven at 425 just till the cheese melts. Then you can broil it if you want it crusty on top.
Hell yeah, look at this.
Look at this. Holy shit. Make sure you guys hit up the HexCloud Black Friday sale. Use my link, it's up in my bio. Check out my cookbooks, they're in my bio too. If you like food videos, grocery hauls, and real life mom shit, give me a follow. Bye.
If you mess up the Thanksgiving mac and cheese, that is on you because I literally have the easiest, creamiest, cheesiest recipe. So let's get into it. We're gonna start off with our cheeses. You wanna use good quality cheese. I like to use a mix of cheeses. So I use Gouda, sharp cheddar, I use mozzarella cheese, I use Colby Jack, and then those little chunks of cheese that you can't grate, put those to the side. We're gonna use those later. Next, we're gonna melt down some unsalted butter and we're gonna take 6 cups of heavy cream. So this is about 1.5 quarts, and we're gonna let that simmer before we slowly start adding in our cheese. We'll add in about half of our cheese here, and then we are going to toss in our spices. Keep it simple, guys, don't get exotic here. Once you get that cheesy sauce, you are going to start working on your noodles. You'll take some chicken bouillon, add it to some boiling water, and you're gonna cook your noodles according to the package instructions. You'll strain them, and then this is where we're gonna start adding in some of that cheese sauce, mixing. We'll take those chunks from earlier. I told you we'd need them, and then we're gonna start incorporating everything. I like to also add a little bit more seasoning here as I go. Once all of that cheese sauce is incorporated, we'll start layering our pan. So we're gonna lay about half of our noodles down nice and neat, and then we're gonna take another layer of cheese, and we're going to make sure it's fully covered before adding another layer of noodles. And then I like to add a little bit of sauce here at the end. And then finally, you're gonna fully cover it with some more cheese. I like to bake this uncovered, and then I do broil it at the end for that little razzle dazzle. And then guys, look at this. This is amazing. It's foolproof. If you want a recipe that you can't mess up, try this out. And of course, the full recipe is going to be on my blog.
Thanksgiving is around the corner, and I know we all love a good baked mac and cheese, but you cannot go wrong with some creamy stovetop. To some salted water, you're going to boil your pasta till al dente by following the instructions on the back. Then melt down 4 tablespoons of butter, not margarine. Once that's melted, stir in 3 cups of heavy whipping cream. Once it begins to boil, reduce it to low and add in 3 cups of your choice of cheese. I use cheddar jack for this recipe, but you can get creative. Also, remember to cut the heat down as low as possible so your cheese sauce doesn't become gritty. As far as seasoning, I like to keep it simple with mac and cheese, so I use Lawry's and black pepper, 1 heaping tablespoon of each. Once the cheese is completely melted down and your seasonings are all blended in, you're going to add your pasta and fold it into the cheese sauce. Give it a good mix, ensuring that all the pasta is covered. As a final step, I like to sprinkle about 2 cups of cheese on top, cover it with a lid, and let it simmer for about 10 minutes until the cheese is melted.
And that's it, a simple and easy, creamy and cheesy, homemade stovetop mac and cheese. It's an immediate yes for Thanksgiving and any time after.
On today's episode of We Got Food at Home, honey, I'm going to show you how to make this baked mac and cheese the Jazz Renee way. And you can't tell me this don't look good. Okay. Get you some salt, add it to a pot, get your noodles stirred around so they don't be clumpy. Then you're just going to season your noodles to your liking. I use pepper and salt. Use whatever you have at home. It does not matter, okay? Then take you some butter, add you some cream cheese, and some heavy whipped cream to a pot until it gets thick. Add your cheese of your choice. This is what I like to use. You can use as little or as much cheese as you want. It does not matter. And just stir it around until it gets to your consistency. I add a little bit more milk because it was too thick for me. Then season it a little bit more. I use pepper, paprika, and Creole seasoning. Add your mixture to your noodles, stir it around, and then you're just gonna top it out with some more cheese. Like I said, I like a whole lot of cheese on mine, so honey, add as much or as little as you want, okay? Because you can't tell me this mac and cheese ain't gonna be fire. Okay, and just keep topping it off, okay? Then you're gonna get you some paprika and some parsley, top it off, stick it in the oven, and just look at this ooey gooey mac and cheese. You can't tell me this don't look good. Enjoy. Bye.
Welcome back to All Things Thanksgiving. Now next up is my famous creamy, crispy top mac and cheese that's foolproof and perfect for Thanksgiving. I'm gonna start off by boiling my noodles in chicken bouillon until they're al dente, straining them and setting them to the side. These are the cheeses that I like to use, and I love to hand shred my cheese because when you buy pre-shredded cheese, it's not gonna get as creamy or cheesy. I'm gonna be making a cheese sauce since this is a no-room mac and cheese, so it's melted butter and heavy cream mixed together, and then I'm gonna slowly start adding in my cheeses. You wanna go slow and low here so your cheese sauce thickens. For spices, I'm gonna use everything that I've listed on the screen, and that's how I'm gonna season my mac and cheese. This is how your cheese sauce should look. I'm gonna go ahead and start ladling that delicious sauce all over my noodles, and then I had some chunks from earlier in the shredding process that I threw in there. I'm gonna lay down half my noodles, add a layer of shredded cheese, and then repeat the process. I reserved a little cream sauce from earlier because I think this helps it get a nice crust, and I bake at 375 until it's bubbly and delicious. The full recipe is on my blog, and enjoy this.
If you want to bring the best dish to your Easter potluck, make this delicious cheesy mac and cheese and everyone will love you. The base of this recipe is the original, the amazing Chef Teeny's recipe. However, I did make a few changes to make it more flavorful. So while your cavatappi pasta is boiling, prepare and shred all of the different cheeses. Today we will be using 1 pound of Colby Jack, 1 pound of mozzarella, and half of a pound of sharp cheddar cheese. If you want a smokier flavor, feel free to even use smoked Gouda instead of the cheddar. Once you have all of the cheeses shredded, toss it up and separate it in half. Now for the seasoning mixture, add in 1 teaspoon of chicken bouillon. The chicken bouillon just adds a depth of flavor to the mac and cheese, and if you've never tried it before, I highly recommend it. Then also add in garlic powder and smoked paprika. Into your pot, melt 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter, then add half of the seasoning mixture to toast all the flavors together. Then add in your 3 tablespoons of flour. I like to mix after each tablespoon so that the roux doesn't get all lumpy, but just cook the flour off for about 2 minutes before adding in the evaporated milk and heavy cream. Also peep the silicone whisk. If you know, you know. Add in the rest of the seasoning mixture, and I do less than a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. I do less than a tablespoon because I found that it was a little too sharp with a full tablespoon, but of course this is all to your preference. Once everything is nice and whisked together, add in all of your cheeses. I like to turn the heat off at this point so the mixture doesn't curdle, but just keep stirring well and it'll make this beautiful velvety cheesy sauce. Now my favorite part, mixing the noodles and the cheese sauce together. I'm just gonna let the raw audio speak for itself because I know we all love to listen to this.
Now that we all enjoyed that little ASMR moment, we're gonna put our mac and cheese into the pan and try to not spill everywhere like I did. So add in half of the mac and cheese and then half of the remaining cheese mixture, then add in the rest of the mac and cheese and top with the last bit of cheese. Throw it into your oven for about 25 to 30 minutes and broil for the last 3 to 4 minutes to get that beautiful golden crust. This mac and cheese recipe is so reliable and you can truly customize it to your liking with different cheeses and even adding in things like bacon. As always, the recipe will be in the caption and I hope you guys enjoy.
It's literally been years since my last mac and cheese video, so let me bring to you this big bag mac and cheese. And y'all, this is straight fire. To a pot of boiling water, we're gonna add some chicken bouillon, then we're gonna use some corkscrew pasta. Let that cook and set off to the side. For our cheeses, you are too grown to not be grating your own cheese. We're gonna blend sharp cheddar, some mozzarella, some Kobe Jack, and some smoked Gouda. For the seasonings, add paprika, Cajun seasoning, ground mustard, onion powder, garlic powder, a pinch of salt, some coarse black pepper, some red chili flakes, and oregano. To a pot, add some butter. We're gonna add our seasonings with some flour. Once it's pasty and thick like you, add some evaporated milk with some heavy cream and some milk. Add half your cheese on low heat. You don't want to rush this process. Add a little bit at a time. Once it turns to a sauce like this, add half of it to the macaroni. To a pan, add half your macaroni, some of that shredded cheese with some of that cheese sauce. Add some more macaroni on top. Finish it off with some cheese. Place it in your oven at 350 degrees for 30 to 35 minutes. Let that rest for a little bit and look at this. This was so good. You definitely gotta save this one for later. This mac gonna put me to sleep. Full recipe on my website.
This is the best mac and cheese ever. I've been gatekeeping and I think it's time to reclaim my crown.
Okay, you asked, so I'm gonna give it to you, but please be nice because I'm very sensitive about this recipe and I will go back to gatekeeping if you are mean. I use 4 cheeses in my mac: Gouda, Colby Jack, sharp cheddar, and provolone. I really like to stick to those. You can also do a smoked Gouda if you like that smoky flavor, but I prefer to use smoked paprika instead. Okay, now my secrets. I use the same pot that I boiled my pasta in to make my roux because of that residual starch. It's gonna really help. I use soy sauce and Worcestershire. Please don't knock it till you try it. And the reason I think you should make a roux for your mac is because the starches in the flour help coat the proteins in the cheese, making your mac and cheese less greasy. So if you prefer your mac gooey and cheesy and not saucy and greasy, this is the recipe for you. Anyways, add in 3/4 of your shredded cheese in sections to your cream sauce, making sure that last section of cheese you add in, you don't let it melt all the way. This is going to give us a really good texture on our mac and cheese. Add that to a bacon dish to go into your oven. Top it with that last 1/4 of the cheese and just look at it. Gorgeous. Bake it until it is nice and bubbly at 350 for about 30 minutes, and this is our final result. I really hope you love this recipe as much as I do.
5 cheese, no roux, no egg mac and cheese. You'd be surprised how many people actually mess up boiling water or adding a pasta. So first, we added chicken bouillon in our water. Don't fight me. No, your grandma didn't do this, but Kimmy do. And some salt. Yes, salt. Get you 1 pound of elbow macaroni and 1 spoon. Pour it in the boiling water, mix it immediately. Do not add oil. Do not add oil. Put the oil down. Put the oil down. You add oil to it, it will make the noodles feel slippery and the cheese sauce will not stick to it. For the first 3 or 4 minutes, stir at least once every minute. Yes, it's a one-on-one on boiling pasta. You'd be surprised how many people can mess this up or simply don't know how to do it. It say boil for 9 to 11 minutes. Hey Google, set a timer for 9 minutes.
Okay, 9 minutes, starting now.
We have 5 different cheeses. We have Gruyere, if you know, you know. 8 ounces of sharp cheddar, 8 ounces of mozzarella cheese. Yes, it does have flavor. 16 ounces of Kobe Jack cheese, and 16 ounces of medium cheddar cheese. One thing about me, I'm gonna work smarter, not harder. Make sure that this part is up. Put it in at the top. I can find a hole. You're gonna use all this cheese? Probably not. But I like to have more than not enough. Cheese shredded by hand is 10 times better because that bag stuff has that starch on it. Thickens up the cheese sauce and thickens up the macaroni and cheese. It makes it a little bit dry. Just saying. The most controversial part of the mac and cheese besides the egg or no egg is the roux or no roux. And I don't use a roux. Added some butter, some garlic paste, Yes, our grandmas definitely did use evaporated milk and egg, and they put it all together and they put it in the oven. Our nanas, grandmas, and Grammys were the real definition of make something out of nothing. Something delicious out of nothing. Y'all love saying, my granny just made a cheese sauce. But your granny also ate chitlins and they wear sunscreen. Onion powder, and some water powder, and some smoked paprika. Yes, that much. You want to smell the seasonings. Go in and add in your heavy cream. That's about 2 cups or a cup and a half to 2 cups of heavy cream. The smoked paprika also gives it a really yellow color, not just the cheese. Get this heavy cream nice and bubbly like me. The creamier it is, the better it reheats the next day. All right, cut the heat. Add in your Gruyere cheese, all 4 ounces of your Gruyere cheese. Yeah, Gruyere. Then add about 1/3 of your mixed cheese. And mix in your cheeses. I'm sorry to tell you, that grainy texture, that bubbly, curdly texture that your grandma had to make a cheese is called overcooked cheese. Yeah. Ain't my new pot cute, y'all? It's crazy because I learned how to cook just so I can make my own food the way I like to. That's part about making food. Make it how you want to. Now add in half your cheese sauce. I'm gonna adjust as needed. Then mix it up real good to see if you need to add in any more milk. Now add in another 1/3 of your cheese. Save the rest for the top. I ain't get 4 kids for no reason. Everything's incorporated. Get you a little taste test to make sure the flavor is there. Taste test everything, the noodles with the cheese sauce. Oven safe baking dish, do not grease it. Do not grease it. The cheese has enough oils in it that you do not have to grease it. It will not stick to the pan. Add with the remaining cheese or less if you like. Everything in this is fully cooked. There is no raw egg in here. Bake until the cheese turns brown on top and that's it. At 425 for at least 5-10 minutes. Not 350 for 45 minutes. Now what they say, what you eat don't make me, yeah, exactly. Y'all act like we all the human centipede and y'all the last one. Yeah, grandma's mac and cheese was firm because it sat for 3 hours. Wait on that cornbread. Seasoned, cheesy, and fire. You want some? Make your own. Alright, bye.
I'm going to show you how to make mac and cheese for this holiday season. First, boil your pasta. Get it out the way. I use corkscrews because all that cream gets all in the hole and it gets all up in there so you bite into the cream and the cheesiness. It's better than elbow pasta. Next, you have to shred your own cheese. Do not use pre-shredded cheese at all. 1 pound of mozzarella. I don't remember if I said it or not, but I'm using 1 pound of pasta. 1 pound of Colby Jack. 1/2 pound or 8 ounces of sharp cheddar. Toss it all together, mix it up, then divide half of it. Okay, now for seasonings. Some salt and pepper, a little bit of garlic powder, the smoked paprika because I like that smoky flavor. There we go. So I got this thing that's specifically for food videos, so hopefully it works. You can't see my face and I'm not sure how I feel about that. In a pan, 3 tablespoons of butter. We're gonna make our roux. Ah, you can see the dirty stove. When the butter is melted, add half of your seasoning. Make some more flavor. 3 tablespoons of flour. I'm trying to cook all the flour out. Next, 1 can of evaporated milk. You're gonna immediately start whisking so you don't get clumps of flour. See, now it started getting thicker. I'm gonna add 2 cups of heavy cream. Mix. Add the rest of your seasoning. Okay, my face is back. I just felt very bland without showing my face. But you can see it's a good angle. Okay, next I'm gonna add a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Trust me on this, it makes it taste so much better. I don't wanna hear anyone in the comments saying ew. No, this is good. If I don't have Dijon mustard, then I'll use ground mustard. I'm gonna let this thicken up a little bit more before I add my cheese into it. Now I'm gonna start by adding my cheese. I'm gonna let it melt before adding more cheese. So now my cheese sauce, it looks like this. Now I'm gonna add my pasta.
And I'm gonna mix it so I get all that cheese off in there. Listen to this. So I'm gonna layer my mac and cheese. I'm gonna do a small layer first. Then layer this generously, last layer. And then layer the top with a bunch of cheese. I'm gonna put it in the oven at 350 for about like 25 to 30 minutes, whenever the top is melted. This is what she looks like. I forgot to mention I broiled it as well. I broiled it for like max 2 minutes just to get that nice little crust. I like to add chives on top of it too. Listen to the crust. I like to purposely upset people by going in the middle. Woo. Oh, I need a plate. Oh, bam, 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 bam. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Also, I don't want to hear anyone talk about putting breadcrumbs on the mac and cheese. I will never do that.